Out there, beyond the comfort of our blue sky, a golden eye drifts in eternal silence. The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most delicate masterpiece, built not to conquer the stars, but to understand where they came from. It orbits 1.5 million kilometers from Earth, gazing into the deep black ocean of space. Yet what it sees is not the future, it is the past. Because in the universe, light is time. The farther we look, the older the light becomes. Each beam that reaches Webb's mirror began its journey billions of years ago, carrying with it the story of how everything we know first began to glow. When Webb captures an image, it's not showing us how the cosmos is, but how it was. Every pixel is a fossil of light, a whisper from when the first galaxies were born, when chaos turned into beauty, when the universe first opened its eyes. So today, let's follow this golden mirror as it peers beyond space and into time itself, to see what the universe looked like before there were stars, before there was color, before there was us. Launched on December 25, 2021, the James Webb Space Telescope carries within it more than 2 decades of human dreams, patience, and precision. It is the successor to Hubble, not merely to see farther, but to see deeper into the ancient fabric of time itself. Its golden mirror, 6.5 meters wide and made of 18 hexagonal panels, unfolds like a flower in the void. Each piece reflects a fragment of human hope, polished so finely it can capture the faintest whisper of light that left its source before Earth even existed. Webb doesn't look in visible light like our eyes or Hubble once did. It sees in infrared, a spectrum that can slip through cosmic dust, revealing what has been hidden for billions of years. Through this invisible glow, it peers beyond the curtains of darkness to uncover newborn stars, forming planets, and the first galaxies that ever lit up the universe. It's not just a telescope, it's a time machine. Every photon it catches is a messenger from the dawn of creation. And in those delicate golden mirrors, humanity sees not only the universe's reflection, but its own. On July 11, 2022, the world paused. NASA revealed the first deep-field image from the James Webb Space Telescope. And for a moment, humanity held its breath. The image looked deceptively small, like a patch of darkness sprinkled with glitter. But in reality, every speck of light was an entire galaxy, each one containing billions of stars. Some of that light had traveled for over 13 billion years to reach us, ancient photons born when the universe was still young and restless. In a single frame, Webb captured the deepest and sharpest infrared view of the cosmos ever taken. Galaxies appeared stretched and distorted by gravity, their shapes curved by the invisible presence of dark matter. The image was not just a picture, it was a time capsule showing the universe as it looked shortly after the Big Bang. Scientists wept, artists stared in silence. Even those who had never cared for astronomy before felt something stirred deep within, a sudden awareness of how fragile, fleeting, and extraordinary it is to exist at all. What Webb gave us that day wasn't just data, it was perspective, a reminder that every atom in our bodies once belonged to stars that burned in those very galaxies, and that, in a cosmic sense, we are the universe remembering itself. In October 2022, James Webb turned its golden eye toward a familiar sight, the Eagle Nebula, home to the legendary pillars of creation. Hubble had captured them decades earlier, turning them into one of the most iconic images in human history. But Webb revealed something Hubble never could: the hidden life within the dust. The towering columns of gas and dust, light years tall, stood like ancient cathedrals carved from smoke. Within their depths, new stars were being born, tiny suns igniting for the first time, surrounded by swirling clouds of raw cosmic material. Webb's infrared vision pierced through the shadows, unveiling hundreds of glowing orbs that had always been there, invisible to the human eye. It was like looking at a nursery for the cosmos, a place where creation itself is constantly renewed. Every flicker of light marked a new beginning, a promise that even in the cold void, life finds a way to rise from chaos. For scientists, the image was data. For poets and dreamers, it was revelation. The universe, vast and ancient, is not silent. It breathes, it grows, it creates. And through Webb's lens, we are no longer distant observers. We are witnesses to the birth of stars, the same kind of stars that once gave life to the atoms, now writing, reading, and feeling these words. Long before James Webb launched, humanity had already discovered thousands of exoplanets, worlds orbiting distant stars. But most were little more than dots of light, invisible to our eyes. We knew they existed, but not what they were made of, what skies they had, or whether something might be living beneath their alien suns. That changed when Webb turned its gaze toward these faraway worlds. Using infrared spectroscopy, it began to dissect starlight, breaking it into colors, revealing chemical fingerprints hidden within. In those delicate patterns of light, scientists found the unmistakable signs of water vapor, methane, and carbon dioxide in distant atmospheres. For the first time, we could study the air of another world. Webb's instruments even detected shimmering clouds of silicate dust, possibly the ingredients of new planets in the making. Each discovery whispered the same haunting question. Are we alone? Webb doesn't answer that question directly, but it brings us closer than ever before. Every exoplanet it studies, from fiery gas giants to small rocky worlds, tells us something about the story of life itself. Somewhere out there, under an unfamiliar sun, another Earth might be waiting to be seen. And as we look up, searching the darkness for reflections of ourselves, we begin to understand something profound. The quest for another world is also the quest to know who we truly are. Fragile, curious beings on a tiny blue planet, daring to dream beyond the stars. When James Webb looked deeper into space than any telescope before it, it found something no one expected: galaxies that shouldn't exist. Tiny, bright islands of light formed just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang, far earlier and far more massive than theories had ever predicted. These galaxies, ancient and compact, seemed to burn with impossible energy. Some of them existed when the universe was less than 3% of its current age, when darkness had only just begun to fade and the first stars were igniting across the cosmic sea. Webb's infrared eyes caught them like embers in the ashes of creation. To astronomers, this was a revelation and a challenge. It meant that galaxies had formed faster, stars had been born sooner, and the universe had evolved more quickly than we thought. The early cosmos wasn't a slow, quiet expansion. It was a fierce storm of creation, an era of chaos and brilliance colliding in the darkness. But beyond the data and equations, there's something deeper. Each of those distant galaxies is a frozen memory, a glimpse into a time before Earth, before the Sun, before everything we know. When we look at them, we aren't just seeing light. We are seeing the first pages of existence, written in starlight. And perhaps, in those faint red-shifted glimmers, the universe is whispering back to us. You are part of this story too. For centuries, humanity believed we understood the cosmos, stars, galaxies, planets, and light. But James Webb reminds us of a humbling truth. Most of the universe is invisible. What we can see, all the stars, nebulae, and galaxies, makes up less than 5% of everything that exists. The rest is hidden, made of something we cannot touch or see: dark matter and dark energy. Webb doesn't observe them directly, but it sees their fingerprints, the way galaxies bend, twist, and stretch under an unseen gravity. Through its deep field images, Webb reveals a structure that scientists call the cosmic web, a vast interconnected network of filaments made of dark matter, upon which galaxies form like glowing beads. It's the skeleton of the universe, invisible but essential, holding everything together in a delicate balance. Some galaxies appear distorted, like reflections on water. That's gravitational lensing, where dark matter bends light itself, allowing Webb to peer even deeper into time, using gravity as nature's magnifying glass. To look at these images is to feel both awe and insignificance. The visible universe, magnificent as it is only a veil over something infinitely greater. And yet, in that mystery lies beauty. Because every question Webb raises, every unknown it exposes, brings us closer to understanding not just the cosmos, but the limits of our own perception. The more we see, the more we realize. The universe isn't dark because it's empty. It's dark because it's full of secrets. Every image James Webb sends back is more than a photograph. It's a message from the past. The light we see from a galaxy 13 billion light-years away began its journey long before Earth formed, long before the sun was born. When we look into that light, we are looking back in time, through the history of everything that ever was. In the language of physics, light is constant. It moves at the ultimate speed limit, the universe's heartbeat. But for us, that constancy becomes a bridge across eternity. The glow of a dying star, the reflection of a distant planet, even the faint warmth of cosmic dust, all of it carries memories written in photons. James Webb turns those memories into meaning. It shows us how fragile time really is, how everything from galaxies to human lives flickers briefly before fading into the dark. Yet within that brevity lies something profound: connection. We are made of atoms forged in ancient stars. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the oxygen we breathe, all were born in supernova billions of years ago. To see the light of those first stars is to see our own origin story, stretched across the cosmos. The telescope doesn't just reveal where we came from, it reminds us of what we are. Temporary forms of eternal matter, aware of our own impermanence, yet still reaching for the infinite. For all its brilliance and complexity, the James Webb Space Telescope is ultimately a human creation, a mirror not only of the universe, but of our own collective spirit. Every bolt, every circuit, every line of code represents decades of human effort, mistakes, and persistence. It was built by thousands of people across the world, engineers, scientists, and dreamers who dared to imagine something that had never been done before. Some worked on it for 20 years and retired before they ever saw it fly. Others spent sleepless nights solving problems so delicate that even the vibration of a heartbeat could ruin a component. When Webb finally unfolded its golden mirrors in space, it wasn't just a technical triumph. It was a reflection of what humanity can become when united by wonder instead of fear. Each hexagonal mirror, gleaming like a petal of sunlight, is coated with pure gold. Not for luxury, but because gold reflects infrared light perfectly. And in that golden reflection, we see something sacred, our dreams turned into reality. It's easy to think of Webb as a machine, a cold observer drifting in darkness. But it is more than that. It is the extension of human curiosity, the embodiment of our longing to understand, to explore, to reach beyond the limits of our fragile world. When it looks at the stars, we are the ones staring back, small, imperfect, and yet infinitely determined. The farther James Webb looks into space, the more it shows us not just the universe's story, but our own. Every galaxy, every particle of light, every swirl of cosmic dust is a mirror, reflecting what it means to be alive, to question, to seek meaning in the infinite. We often imagine the universe as something cold and distant, vast beyond comprehension. Yet, through Webb's golden eyes, we discover warmth, the quiet pulse of creation itself. We see stars born, stars dying, planets forming, galaxies colliding, and realize that everything, including us, is part of the same grand cycle of transformation. Science gives us the facts, but it's wonder that gives those facts their soul. When we gaze into the deep field, we're not just studying ancient light. We're confronting the mystery of existence. Why is there something instead of nothing? How can such beauty arise from chaos? James Webb cannot answer these questions, but it teaches us how to ask them. It reminds us that knowledge and humility must travel together, that curiosity is not a weakness, but a form of courage. And maybe that's the ultimate lesson the universe offers, that we are not small because we are temporary. We are extraordinary because, for a brief moment in cosmic time, the universe became aware of itself. We built a telescope to look outward, and instead, it showed us inward. It showed us that the cosmos is not separate from us. We are the cosmos, learning to see.